Hello Cruising World, Mick the Suit Guy with you today. I'm going to do a video I don't do very often. I don't like doing anything that's in any way remotely controversial, but quite a few people have asked me for my opinion on what is going on within the cruise industry, specifically Carnival right now. So I thought what I'd do is I'd make a video where I give you solely my opinion of what is going on. This doesn't have to be yours. I'm just giving you how I see things. And some of the things I'm going to say are not made up. These are things I have heard directly from crew members and from customer service reps when I call into Carnival, because as you probably know, I am a travel agent. So I have direct lines with a lot of people. I call Carnival all the time. I also cruise a lot. Way too much, some people would say. So I get to know a lot of crew members very well. So and some in senior management. So the things I'm going to say are directly from them. Of course, I'm not naming names, but I don't make things up. Let's put it that way. If it's made up, then they made it up, and they're not going to do that. Why would they? Anyway, so before I start, to stress one more time, these are just my opinions. I feel uncomfortable because I don't normally like doing this sort of video, but like I said, so many people have asked me to, I figured I would. So let me start by giving my overall opinion. And I thought this was quite a good line. I think that Carnival, they used to call us Carnival family. And I firmly believe that now we are merely a Carnival commodity. They used to care deeply about the consumer. They don't care as much about the consumer anymore. Gradually over the years, things have changed. You remember years and years ago, the drink party used to be golden up. On your birthday month, you used to get a free sushi boat, a whole boat for free in your birthday month. It didn't have to be your birthday. So a lot of things like that they've cut back on, probably because it's got so popular now cruising, and it would cost them a small fortune, they'd lose it. So they really just seem to care about money. And I'll explain why I think that in a moment. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. This isn't a bash Carnival video. This is just me giving my opinion on why things have changed to what they are. COVID changed a lot of things. COVID changed a lot of people's attitudes toward things. And I think to an extent Carnival have used that as an excuse that's not really necessarily true, because I think they're making so much money right now. They've repaid their debts. I don't know this. That is not a factual statement I'm trying to make there. But I do think they use it as an excuse to a certain extent. But are they any different to any other business? They're just running themselves more of a business now than as a company that cares a lot about the client. That's just my opinion. They are still good value. Don't get me wrong. They're not always the best value as they claim. I mean, MSC does give a lot of better deals. I've done the search, I've done the research, I know the numbers. Yes, but they're still up there with the best value. They're not the best, but they're up there among the best. We're still cruising, right? I have, how many cruises do I have on the books? I have 23 cruises booked. I have one with Virgin, I have one with NCL, and the way they treated me going through it, I doubt I'll ever cruise NCL again, because I have not had a good experience with them at all. I've got 5 booked with Celebrity, and I have 16 booked with Carnival. So I'm going to continue to cruise with Carnival because they're still good value. I have different reasons why I cruise with different cruise lines now. I used to be exclusive to Carnival. I wouldn't touch anybody else. A lot of English people are like this. Once we have something we're comfortable and they treat you well, as long as they keep treating you well, you're never going to go away from them. So I was like that. But then Carnival, frankly, didn't start treating me as well as they did. So I started looking at other lines. And that's not 100% true. A part of that is the fact that I'm kind of bored with going to Amber Cove and Grand Turk, and that sounds very arrogant, but I've been there so many times now, I don't need to go there anymore. And Carnival's ports are limited once you've cruised a lot. Put it in perspective, my next cruise will be my 76th Carnival cruise. I'm closing in on 500 days. I think I'm at 476 or something like that. So I've been to all the ports. So I'm looking for other places to go. Now Celebrity, they do a lot of good port stops. I'm going on one next January from Bali all the way across to Mumbai, stopping at Singapore on the way. In 2027, I'm going to do one going from Argentina to Antarctica, Uruguay, the Falkland Islands. Carnival just doesn't offer those itineraries. I mean, once in a blue moon they may, but not on a regular basis like Celebrity does. For example, Virgin has better food, so I'll cruise with Virgin for the food. I'm not a huge fan of Virgin like a lot of people are, but Carnival I'll cruise for the fun, and I will cruise for the crew, which I will get to in a little while. But going back to the good value, I mean, there was a point where I thought all they cared about was casino offers, but I don't gamble much, not enough to get casino offers for sure. But even the people I know that do casinos, their offers seem to be dwindling a little bit. So they're just running it as, you know, a complete business is what I do. And I remember a while ago, just after COVID, and before COVID as well. So it's easy to use COVID as an excuse, but I try not to. But it's all tied in to an extent. But before COVID, with the old CEO, I would call in and I would say, I've got a client that wants to move a cruise from A to B. And they would say, okay, we'll give you a one-time exemption on the fee, but next time they're going to pay a fee. And next time never came. They would always give the exemption. And then the new CEO came in and he has a financial background. And this is not coming from me. This is not me putting 2 and 2 together and making 5. This is coming from the customer service reps who used to let me off with all those. I got to know a lot of them. They all said the directive came down, no more price breaks. If they move, there's a fee. If they move, there's a fee and nothing. There would be no exceptions whatsoever. It doesn't matter if you were blue, red, gold, platinum, diamond. There was no exceptions. I remember one time I was on Carnival Magic and just going on a 6-day cruise. And then I heard about the Carnival Panorama's 25-day cruise that's going from Singapore to Long Beach. And I'm like, oh, yes, please. But I couldn't really afford that and do all the other cruises I had. So I had to play around a bit. And my cruise on the Magic, now it was past final payment date, but I was in penalty period and my penalty was $500. And they charged me the full $500 to move that cruise to a cruise which cost 5 times as much. And they wouldn't budge. You know, if you are on any other travel line, look it up. Give you an example. If you book an economy trip on Virgin, it doesn't matter, or United or Delta, they'll all have the same thing. They'll have different levels of economy. There's basic economy up to the premium, not premium economy, but that's a different seating area. But within the economy, there's different ways you can buy. And the highest one will be there's no cost for changes. There's none this, there's none that. That should be the equivalent of a diamond, if you ask me. Right? So I don't know. I was a little bit perturbed by that, and it hasn't changed since. But again, I'm going to keep stressing this. I'm still cruising Carnival. I'm not stopping. I'm just giving you my opinion. But yeah, there was a time when they allowed stuff like that. We all know food quality has gone down. It is not as good as it used to be, but that's across the fleet, across the cruising world, as it were. All cruise lines, from what I've seen, apart from Virgin, have pretty much gone down in food. I can't speak in as much to that as others could. I'm going a lot on that by what I've heard from other people. I've cruised Royal once, and I was on Icon of the Seas, and I got the specialty dining package, so I didn't eat in the dining room once. So when I talk about food quality going down, I'm not talking about specialty restaurants. I'm talking about the main dining room, and Virgin doesn't have one. So, but from what I hear on the other cruise lines, it's gone down, and Carnival, it's definitely gone down. I don't think anybody can argue that. But if you cruise for food, I've said this for the longest time, you're making a mistake. You shouldn't cruise for food. You're cruising for the fun. You're cruising for the ports. You know, that's just the way I've always looked at it. I don't think you should expect too much, especially with the price you're paying on Carnival typically, to have excellent food. But it should be better than it is. Just my opinion. We're going to get to a touchy subject now, because this is going to upset a lot of people. But you also have a brand ambassador that just lies constantly. You know, my recommendation would be only listen to things he says that come officially from Carnival. What he started doing lately is every time they bring up something negative, he blames YouTubers like myself for giving out fake information. I'll give you a classic example. Just recently, they brought back, now it's only going to be once every 6 months, admittedly, but they brought back the old rules for a muster station. So there's going to be once every 6 months an old style muster drill on the cruise ships. So to soften the blow from Carnival's perspective, he said, don't listen to YouTubers that say this is coming back on every cruise. I couldn't find any that said that, but no, there are some clickbaiters out there that may say that. I don't know. But he also said in the same breath, this is something we're supposed to do. They haven't been doing it for years. So what happened to the other years when they were supposed to be doing it? You didn't, you brought it back. That's the bottom line. But he will blame other people to soften the blow on Carnival a lot. Now, I know his followers, like if you say anything negative, they will just attack. So you can't, I've given up on that page now. There's no point in giving your opinion unless your opinion is pro-Carnival. Because if you dare say anything that's anti-Carnival, you'll just get attacked from all angles, especially if you say you're Diamond. But let's be honest, I'm Diamond, right? Shouldn't I be entitled to more than somebody that's blue or red or even gold? Platinum's coming towards where I am, but I've done almost 500 days. In any other company with the loyalty programs, I would be at the top. If I was on Southwest, I'd be A-list, but if you try and say anything, you're an entitled Diamond, and I'm not like that. But I do believe, as such a loyal customer, I should get some perks. But try asking for perks on that page and watch what happens when you get attacked from every angle, But look at other companies' rules. People like me in my level, if I had the equivalent level with them, I'd be getting everything for free. Not everything, but a lot more than you do on Carnival. And he lies. I talk to management on ships, and they dread sometimes because he tells people stuff that just isn't true. They go on board and ask for it, and they have to provide it, even though it's not a fact. I'll give you an example that actually involved me. I was on the Legend, the Greenland cruise that never happened, so we won't go into that. But yeah, and he lied about that constantly too. We won't even go there. The lies he came out with on that one were classic. And this isn't just to bash him. This is just my opinions on Carnival, but a lot of it ties around that because that's what a lot of people see. There was a couple came on, and he told them that if they bought a schooner of beer, I forget the exact term, schooner, whatever, you know what I mean, that they would get it filled for free. I know, and I don't know if it's still the same, but at that point, that only applied to ships that had a brewery, like the Vista class and the XL class. So if you did at that point bring a schooner on board, an XL or Vista class ships, yes, you would get a schooner of beer, but not on the Legend. They don't have a brewery. This couple started attacking, verbally abusing a bartender, and I won't stand for that. So they said they'd been to guest services, and they said to come up, and they said they'd do it. And the bartender was quite rightly saying, no, we don't do that on this ship, and they haven't told me that's okay. Why would he know? And I couldn't take it anymore. And I said to them, listen, that's only on the XL and the Vista class ships, right? And they goes, I'm not going to mention his name, said that we could get it on this ship. I'm like, I don't know if he did. Well, it's possible he didn't, but I don't know if he did, but you don't get it. And then they went back to guest services, and then they came back up later, and I'm still in the bar because I like my bars. Different bartender, same routine, attack. And I again pointed out to him, you're wasting. Why are you using this bartender who can't apply that for you? And and in the end, they got their schooner of beer. But if they weren't told they could have that, or if they'd been told the correct information, that it's only on Vista and XL, we wouldn't have had to deal with that situation. And trust me, that situation happens a lot. And then you got other examples, like they recently took away the $25 casino bonus that Platinum and Diamond used to get. And it was stated this was a temporary fix for COVID. It wasn't a temporary fix for COVID. It was a replacement for the free entry to the blackjack or the slot tournament that they had before COVID that they stopped and they've not brought back, although they brought it back on other cruise lines, so I don't really know why they haven't brought it back. So it wasn't a temporary thing. It was a permanent replacement to something that had been around for a long time, is what we were told. So they took that away and lied about why they were taking that away. And like with the loyalty program, if they don't do something with that loyalty program, we're going to get overtaken soon, because look at how long it's been since they've done anything. There are now so many Platinum and Diamond members, you can't cope. You can't keep giving the stuff you're giving to all these people without it starting to cost a lot of money. So they have to do something. But how many years have they been saying they're going to do something and they haven't done anything? It's this time of the year, and it started again. It's already started. Well, we're going to be doing it soon, and we'll let you know when it's happening. Hey, Nobody wants it more than I do, so I hope this is the year. But it wasn't last year, it wasn't the year before that, and so on and so on. Every single year, it's the same thing around this time. We're gonna be making changes, and they don't. They just don't. By the way, going back to the other thing, have you also noticed that when posts are made on the brand ambassadors page and questions are asked, what would you do? And he does these polls. Every poll is leaned in Carnival's favor. So he'll take a negative statement from somebody. And where does that come from, by the way? He says X or John, whatever, said this, that, and the other. There's only one place you can post on his page. And several times I have looked for this post that he's brought up as an example, and I've never been able to find it. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe he deletes it once he finds, I don't know. But I've never found one of these questions that he gets. And it's always a question that he knows is going to come out 95% in Carnival's favor. It's never a question that could be 50-50. It's never a question that could be against Carnival. It's only questions that are always going to be fully in favor of Carnival. Just look, remember that. Take note of that when you're looking forward. But going back to the loyalty program again, what can they do? I mean, at this point, you've got so many platinum and diamonds. And I'll give you another thing that frustrates me. And again, maybe a bit selfish being a diamond, and maybe there'll be some comments on this saying, oh, you're just an entitled diamond. I am not. I'm just asking for what I think I should get because of my loyalty. You would get with every other company. When you do a Journeys cruise now, they're pretty much made up mostly of platinum and diamond members. Not mostly, but a lot more than they would expect, especially with the increased numbers that there are out there now. So what they've started doing pretty much on every Journeys cruise, there's no priority for platinum or diamond anymore. I don't really buy that you couldn't make that diamond only on some of these. Maybe some of them it would even be too much with the number of diamonds on board. But I read the numbers. You could do it with just diamond, but we'll leave that one there. That's for another day. But what else could you do? I don't think you can change the 75 days. I don't think you can change the 200 days. People have had that as a target for too long. And if you take that target away from them, it's going to be not devastating, but very disappointing to a lot of people. So I don't think you can touch that. I run through my head many times what would I like to see happen. I think double diamond is a pretty logical one, like a 400 day over a 200 day. You could certainly add that and give them some extra perks. No change penalties. I went over it earlier. It blows my mind that they don't already have that in there. Just if you're diamond and up, you no longer get penalties if you want to change your cruise or whatever. Cancelling is a different subject. I'm talking changing. Because what we do a lot of times is, as diamonds, we will move cruises around. And I do it a lot. And every time I do it, I got to pay a minimum $50 per person fee. And why should I? I'm still keeping the money in-house. Don't charge me. Make that a loyalty perk, right, for me. That's a bit selfish. Most of you aren't diamond out there, so you don't care about that. But another thing I thought about that, like Royal does, the more status you have, the more free drinks a day they give you. Like you can have, when you're lower down one. I've got a video on the difference between Carnival and Royal perks out there. I watched that. I mean, Royal perks blow Carnival perks out the water. It's so much better. So just consider that. There's so many things. Put in the comments what you would like to see as a perks change. When you turn diamond, you get one time free specialty dining, like a steakhouse or whatever. Make that one every 100 days or something like that. Give more of those or whatever. Maybe add a priority on tenders on the way back in, not just on the way back out. So I don't know. One thing I will say, going back to the drinks, and I'm still a believer in this. They'll never do this. And this is nothing to do with a loyalty program. But I do believe that Carnival should make the Cheers package unlimited drinks, like they do on every other cruise line. And hear me out on this one. I'm not just saying because I want to drink 20 drinks in a day. My experience is when it's 15 drinks in a day, it becomes a target. It becomes a challenge. When you have unlimited drinks, you're not even thinking about it, and you don't drink as much psychologically. You just don't. When I went on Celebrity, unlimited drinks, I don't think I drank more than 9-10 drinks a day. But when I go on Carnival, I want to know how many drinks I've had. And I'm at 13, 14 drinks, sometimes 15 a day. Not like I used to. In my heyday, it would be 15 every time. And as a side note, have you noticed They used to give you, when you hit 10, they used to have it on the bottom of your sign-off sheet, 10, then 11, then 12, just to let you know you were getting closer. And that was an even bigger challenge to get to the 15, right? They took that away. Now they don't do that. You'd have to ask now, or you can look on your hub and it will show you how many drinks you have had because they all get registered. That's just a little side note, but I do believe when you have a 15 drink max, challenge on, challenge accepted. Unlimited, it seems weird, but I don't think you'll find people drink as much. And another great thing about unlimited, like if you go for dinner and you want wine, they'll give you a bottle of wine. They won't just keep calling them over and ask for a glass of wine all the time. Little stuff like that. Anyway, as off the subject, I just wanted to add that in there. So here's the thing. The bottom line is, it's pretty clear that Carnival doesn't care about the consumer as much as they used to, right? But neither do any cruise lines. So again, I'm not just bashing Carnival here. I'm just saying what I've seen happen. I'm kind of bashing one person a little bit, but that's my belief. You love him. A lot of people love him. A lot of people, don't care what he says. In fact, he's golden. I have a different opinion, but that's just me. They used to care so much more about the client. Carnival, we're just Carnival commodities now. We are not Carnival family anymore. And I don't really hear them using that term much on board because I think they realize it's true. But we're still going to cruise and there's still good value. Even though the Cheers package went up, it's still worth it. I got a video I put out there where we challenged it and we saw how many drinks do I have to drink to make it pay. It still pays. It just doesn't pay quite as well as it did. One of the biggest frustrations, and it's one of the biggest things that they do now, that proves to me about the commodity over the family, they just up prices. They used to give you notice. They would say, all right, like Southwest just did with their baggage prices, on May 28th, we're going to start charging for bags. Carnival used to do that with, changes on the Cheers package and stuff. They go, right, in 2 weeks, we're going to up the price. So you've got 2 weeks to get it at the current price. Great. We all did it. We understand that prices are going to go up. That's the nature of the beast, right? But they do it without any warning now. They just do it and they don't tell you. So that's a very, very sad and frustrating change for me personally. I don't know. I don't like that. That is one thing they've done that I really didn't like. I understand all the other things I do because they're running a business and they don't have to run it as a family. But I didn't like that one little bit. Like I said earlier, I used to be exclusively Carnival and now I'm not. I will cruise on other lines. A lot of the reason I cruise Carnival, though, and I cruise Carnival for the fun, and a lot of people that cruise a lot will tell you the same thing. We will go on a ship if we know certain crew members are on there. It's a fact. I'm going on Mardi Gras. In fact, when this video comes out, I think I'm going to be on Mardi Gras because my good friend Owen is the guitarist on there. So I'm going to go see him. I always try and go on a cruise with him when he's in port. He's from my hometown in England. So I always try and go on a cruise when he's out there. I've got some bartender friends on there. I'm going to hopefully go and surprise. They don't know I'm going. Same thing on the Magic. I'm not going to give out the date in case they watch this, but I'm going to be going on the Magic to surprise some of my favorite bartenders on there. I would never have gone on these cruises if it wasn't for that. I'm going on the Panorama for my birthday out of Long Beach in May for one simple reason. Andy is the cruise director. Otherwise, I'd be going on one out of Florida. So a lot of Diamond people will do this, and that brings our loyalty into Carnival because we do care deeply about the crew. I like to think that they appreciate us for that too, because they're away from their families for 6 to 8 months at a time, and when they see a familiar face, I think that they enjoy that. Not all of them, but I think a lot of them actually appreciate and like that. So, it's just, this is a bit wobbly and waffling on for me. I'd like to have your opinions in the comments of what you think about what's happened. But overall, I can summarize it very briefly and very precisely for what I think is that we're Carnival commodity. We are not Carnival family anymore. The bottom dollar is all they really care about anymore, but they're still great value and we're still going to cruise with them. And I understand why they did that. I just don't like the way they did some of the things they did. And don't trust that brand ambassador as far as you can throw him. Although you probably couldn't throw him very far. Ooh! That was a mean one at the end, wasn't it? I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. Did you know we're the same age? And I talked to him once, and he probably's forgotten me. He won't even care. But he agreed. We were born in the same hospital. But I tell you one thing, my teeth are better than his. All right, that was unnecessary. That was unnecessary. But that's quite funny. Quite funny. A couple of little digs there at the end. All right. Anyways, yeah. So like I said, I don't like doing these videos, so it probably didn't come across very. And I'm not comfortable in doing these videos, so you may have noticed I'm looking down a lot in front of me. I do have my laptop sitting right in front of me here, and I've got my mouse in my hand. I've just been going because I made some notes, and I'm trying to kind of read my quote notes, cliff notes, as it were. But yeah, that's just my opinion on where the cruise industry is at right now. A couple of people asked me to do it and say it, and that's where we're at. I don't expect you to agree with me. I don't expect you to disagree with me particularly or whatever, but I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments and what you think. And if you think I said anything that's incorrect, listen, these are just my opinions. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Or as I jokingly like to say, we're all entitled to our opinion. It's not your fault. Yours is the wrong one. I don't mean that. Oh, do I? I don't know. I like that. You get to use that. I gave you that one for free. Right? It's a matter of opinion. It's not your fault. Yours is the wrong one. You can use that. You can use that. Anyways, yeah, so, if you want to subscribe to this channel, I don't do these videos very often at all. Most of my videos are more factual, trying to help you with a cruise. But like I said, a lot of people had asked me if I would do one of these. So I did it. I don't even know how that's going to sound. Probably a bunch of jumbled garbage, and 4 people will watch this. But yeah, again, put your opinions in the comments. I would love to know what you think is happening. And what do you think that they should do with the new loyalty program? What should they add? And I don't want to come across as an entitled diamond, because that is the last thing I am. But I really do believe that loyalty should be rewarded. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But on that brand ambassadors page, woof, try and say that and see what happens. I dare you. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email is coming up at the end of this video. Don't just send emails bashing me for what I just said. We're all entitled to our opinions. I'm glad that's over. I won't do one of these again for a long time. But I will see you later, Cruising World. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget, subscribe, hit that bell, and you'll get notifications when new videos come out. And don't forget, click on the links to the left and right of me. You can watch playlists, new video suggestions, and more. Any questions? Email me, cruisingsuitguy@gmail.com. And don't forget, I'm a travel agent. Email for help.